The history of our country would not be complete without the history of buying, selling, bartering, trading, lying, cheating, stealing if you talk to any native person. So what I thought I'd do is take you back to the 1950s, early 1960s, when I was growing up, and share with you how American commercialism affected my life. Hey, get your cold beer. And that's get ya, not get your. Hey, get your cold Ballantine. Hey, get your cold beer. Get your ice cold Ballantine beer. Ballantine beer, brewed right here in Newark, New Jersey. Now, that little melody, the tune, the lyrics, it's been tucked away in some dusty recess of this primitive brain of mine for going on 70 years. And when I call up that little tune, along with it, there is imagery. What I see is a small black and white television set. And, the New York Yankees are playing. Number 7, Mickey Mantle is up at bat, and Roger Maris is sitting in the dugout. Now, growing up in the 50s, going to elementary school, I received no musical instruction from the nuns at St. Valentine's Parochial School in Bloomfield. No, those nuns were more interested in trying to save our heathen little souls from going to hell than they were teaching us the arts. So I received no musical instruction, but I got everything I needed to know about music by watching that black and white TV set and listening to the AM radio that was plugged into the wall in our kitchen. And now that AM radio, when you clicked it on, you had to wait, a good 10, 15 seconds for the tubes in the back to begin to glow, to warm up, and then you heard sound. And, well, truth be told, I heard more commercials than I did popular music on those AM stations. But those commercials, most of them had musical jingles. So that's where I learned rhythm and pitch and lyrics and intonation and all that stuff. But in addition to the music, I learned a lot of other important stuff about life. For instance, I knew that Ipana toothpaste was the very best toothpaste you could buy because the mascot of Ipana toothpaste, Bucky Beaver, he told me, brusha, 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 new Ipana toothpaste, brusha, 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 it's better for your teeth. And then Bucky would smile and his front teeth would sparkle. And he told me that Ipana toothpaste contained hexachlorophene. And well, if Bucky Beaver said that Ipana toothpaste had hexachlorophene in it, it had to be good. Well, a number of years later, they quietly removed hexachlorophene from Ipana toothpaste when they found out that hexachlorophene was quite toxic to humans. Yeah. Now, back in the store, when I was... The store, that's a whole nother story. Our family business. Hilltop Food Market, 220 Hoover Avenue, Bloomfield, New Jersey, Pilgrim 39878. I memorized that along with the Hail Mary and the Our Father before I could say anything else. I worked in the store every single day of my life, starting on my 6th birthday. My mom and dad taught me how to sweep the floor, how to stock the shelves, scrape the blocks, and wait on customers. Now, I remember waiting on a customer and holding up a big pound tin of coffee and telling the customer, you know, Mrs. Ellis, you're lucky to be able to buy this coffee from us here Because even if you were a millionaire, and that would be a billionaire today, even if you were a millionaire, you wouldn't be able to buy coffee this good. And I knew that to be true because, I heard on the radio and the television that chock full of nuts is that heavenly coffee, heavenly coffee, heavenly coffee. Chock full of nuts is that heavenly coffee. Better coffee a millionaire's money can't buy. Yeah. Now, by the time I got to sixth grade, I had heard, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these commercials, and I knew the words, the melody, the lyrics to all of them. But there was one that in sixth grade was important to all of the boys in my class over at St. Val's. Now, sixth grade, that was a funny year. I mean, a pivotal year. Lots of stuff happened in sixth grade. Sixth grade was the year that we boys started noticing that the girls in our class, they started to look more like girls than little kids. And it was in sixth grade that we boys, we started to wear these tight chino slacks because, that's what Elvis and Fabian and those cool guys who called themselves the Drifters, that's what they all wore. And those teenagers from New York City on the movie that had just come out. The Sharks and the Jets, that's what they wore. So we wanted to be cool. So we came to school wearing our tight chino slacks. And we all went down to the 5 and 10 cent store. I do not have time to explain the 5 and 10 cent store. Ask somebody who's old. We would go down to the 5 and dime, as we called it. And we'd buy this stuff that came in a great big red, white, and black tube. It was called Brylcreem Hairdressing for Men. And we all bought it because Brylcreem, a little dabble do ya? Use more, but only if you dare. For then the gals'll all pursue ya. They'll love to get their fingers through your hair. Yeah, that's what we wanted. The gals to pursue us and get their fingers through our hair. So we'd squeeze this white greasy stuff into our hands, smush it into our hair, take the little nylon combs that we all carried in our back pockets because, Cookie, lend me your comb. I don't have time to explain that. And we'd slick back our hair until it was glistening and perfectly in place. Now, why anybody would want to get their fingers through that grease, I don't know. But that's just the way things were at the time. Now, in the early 60s, there were lots and lots of cigarette commercials on the radio and on television. And back there in the store at 220 Hoover Avenue, Bloomfield, New Jersey, I sold lots and lots and lots of cigarettes. Now, I learned as a kid that cigarette smokers had strong brand loyalty. This guy coming in the store, he's going to buy a pack of Viceroy. Yep. And this guy, Pall Mall. And that guy, Raleigh cigarettes, because he likes to collect the coupons that you could save up and then get some gifts for. And this woman, she likes Parliaments. Yeah. And this guy, Winston cigarettes. He's a Winston guy. And I knew Winstons were really good cigarettes because Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Who needs music class when you could learn syncopation from listening to a cigarette commercial? But something happened in the early 60s. I've learned that suddenly people were changing their brands. This guy came into the store and I know he's going to buy a pack of Lucky Strikes. So I went over and grabbed a pack of Luckies. I was ready to give them to him when he said, pack of Kents. I said, what? Pack of Kents. And Lucky Strikes? Kents. And that happened more and more. And the reason? Well, to the Irish, it's a leprechaun. To a Grecian, it's the Parthenon. To a Scotsman, it's his regiment. To a smoker, it's a Kent. Da-da-da-da, the taste of Kent. Da-da-da-da, the taste of Kent. Da-da-da-da, the taste of Kent. Real taste, fine tobacco. Dun dun da 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 dum. Yeah, that commercial, it changed a lot of people, made them switch over to Kent's. Now, when I hear that commercial, there's a lot of imagery in this old brain of mine. I could see myself selling a pack of Kent's to little Butchie Lipinski. Now those Lipinski kids, they used to come in the store one after another. There must have been a million of them. They lived down the street. Well, they were Polish, Irish, Catholic. So there was a whole bunch of them. And in the summertime, one would come into the store after another. One would come in and she'd say, hey, Ken, half pound of bologna. And I'd slice up a half pound of bologna. 20 minutes later, another Lipinski would come in. Hey, Ken, a quart of milk. And then another one. But I could see little Butchie coming into the store. He must have been 6 years old. Dirty t-shirt, runny nose, putting 3 dimes on the butcher block because that's what a pack of cigarettes cost. Well, Lucky Strike and Camels, 28 cents because they didn't have a filter. They were a little bit shorter. I could hear him say, hey, Ken, a pack of Kents. And I'd go and get a pack of Kents and a pack of the book matches that went along with the cigarettes. And I'd give them to little Butchie and he'd run down the road to give them to his father. Now, the other cigarette that suddenly became popular, I learned that a lot of men all of a sudden wanted to buy Marlboro cigarettes. And the reason was this: the Marlboro Man. Now, the history of Marlboro cigarettes is that originally they were marketed to women. The early commercials all showed beautiful women, sophisticated, elegant, dressed in a nice dress with pearls around their necks, lipstick, coiffed hair, holding a pack of Marlboros, shiny white teeth. They were smiling and holding a lit cigarette in their other hand. But the folks at Marlboro, they decided that they could sell more cigarettes to men. And so they found the Marlboro Man. And this guy, he was tough. He was rugged. He wore a Stetson hat, denim jacket. I could still see him as clearly as I could see you. Riding his horse to a high bluff and stopping there as the sun set. He takes out a pack of Marlboros, shakes one out, lights it up, puts it in his mouth, watches the sun set, and in the background is this orchestral piece that the Marlboro folks borrowed from a movie. They took it from this movie called The Magnificent Seven, a movie about 7 rugged, tough machismo men. Yul Brynner, Charles Bronson, my Hollywood icon, Steve McQueen. Yeah, I could still see him sitting in the saddle of that horse. Da-dum, da-da-da-dum, da-dum, da-da-da-dum, 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 dun da-da-da-da-da, bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum. Yeah. And I got to tell you, as a little aside, Marlboro cigarettes, they hold a special place in my memory because in 6th grade, that was my very first cigarette. 6th grade again. Richie Vivada comes up to me. Hey, Kenny, I snitched some Marlboros from my old man. Meet me in Murphy's Woods and bring some matches, will you? Okay. And so I met Richie in Murphy's Woods. We crawled under some hedges so nobody could see us. We sat cross-legged, and we each lit up a Marlboro. We we smoked. We each smoked that Marlboro right down to the filter. And on that day, me and Richie, we both became Marlboro men. Now, I could picture here's the other thing. Back in the 60s, the commercials that I liked the best were the beer commercials. Yeah. And there were many of them. I already sang the Ballantine commercial, but every single beer had a jingle that went along with it. And in addition to learning the melody, the lyrics, all that stuff, I learned a lot of other stuff. Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one. I learned as a kid that if you're going to drink beer, well, you're going to drink a bunch of them. Schaefer's pleasure doesn't fade, even when your thirst is done. Now that line always confused me as a kid because I thought, well, if you ain't thirsty no more, why would you keep on drinking? The most rewarding flavor in this man's world, beer, was for men. For people who are having fun. And who the heck doesn't want to have fun? Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one. Now, I could picture myself as a kid in St. Valentine's School, climbing the steps from the lavatory, the boys' bathroom that was in the basement, taking my time going back to class. I could see myself in that dimly lit hallway, and I could see one of my classmates coming the other way, and I don't know, it could be Peter Gutkowski or Teddy Kozakiewicz or Tommy Stefanczyk. It doesn't matter, but I could see him coming toward me, and in my mind I could hear him. Hey, Carnus, what do you say? And I knew exactly how to respond. What do you say, Pabst Blue Ribbon? What do you say, Pabst Blue Ribbon? What do you say, Pabst Blue Ribbon? And then we would harmonize. Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Yeah. But I got to tell you, my favorite commercial was the Rheingold commercial. Yeah. I love the Rheingold commercial because on May 1st, 1971, the day that I turned 21 years old, I got up early. I ran out and jumped into my 1965 Ford Econoline van, the little truck that I used to haul my motorcycles, and I drove to Orange, New Jersey. And in the pre-dawn darkness, I remember rolling my window down and smelling the hops and the yeast that were brewing at Rheingold Brewery right there in Orange. Well, I parked my truck. I walked into this room and a guy handed me a clipboard and I signed my name on the bottom of it. And I stood around with a bunch of other guys. Now, this was called shape-up work. And what would happen is this. Once the bookmen, the union guys, went out to make their deliveries, if they needed more deliveries to be made, they would call from this bank of men, mostly cops and firemen on their days off. Now, I didn't get out that first day or the next day, but I just kept going back. I wanted to work at the brewery, and finally one day, Carnus, you're going out with Wilson, okay? And I tell you, I was excited, and I worked hard, and I kept going back, and I started working. And then one day, after working a number of days as a helper, Carnus, you're driving today. Okay. No training. I had worked enough that they just decided I could drive this big yellow diesel truck, and I did. I drove it into Newark, into Patterson, Jersey City, Hoboken. And I loved driving that truck and delivering beer. I would carry cases of beer down steep cement steps into dank, dark, dungeony cellars, and then go up and give the bill to the bartender, and he would pour me a short one. And I'd gulp it down and then drive to the next stop, all the while singing. My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Think of Rheingold whenever you buy beer. Ah, you poets out there, did you hear the poetic mastery of that? Dry beer, buy beer. It's not bitter, not sweet. It's the extra dry treat. Now get ready for the assonance here. Won't you try extra dry Rheingold beer? Who needs literature class when you got the Rheingold beer commercial? Well, I hope you have all enjoyed going down memory lane with me. I'm going to leave you with a relaxing melody. If you've got the time, we've got the beer, Miller beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through. So when it's time to relax, Miller stands clear, beer after beer. If you've got the time, we've got the beer, Miller beer. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. From me to you. Prost, Schlante, Skol, Na zdrowie, L'chaim. Cheers.